Okay, here we go using the new rules that we learned today in class. Technically, these are middle school standard rules that we just reviewed today. Let's apply it. So honestly, I don't know if you noticed, but the entire top two rows are all the add rule. So what threw some students off is that these have parentheses and these have a dot. Well, parentheses or a dot, it all means multiply. When I'm multiplying the same big base, I'm just going to add the exponents. So let's go apply the rule. This is going to be a to the 3 plus 5 is a to the 8th. This is going to be b to the 2 plus 4 is b to the 6th. Ooh, this one's interesting. Negative 6 plus 10. Did you get that one? Is x to the positive 4. 10 minus 6, negative 6 plus 10. Do you see how that gives us that? And this one is 3 to the negative 2 plus 11. So that's 11 minus 2 is 9. Oh, I've got three things to add here. 4 plus 8 plus 3. So big base of 2, that's going to be 12, 13, 14, 15. How'd you do? There's an invisible 1 right here with this front y. So it's 1 plus 7 plus 10. Did you get y to the 18th? All right, here we have a coefficient of 2 and a coefficient of negative 3. Those are plain old big numbers. So we take the 2 times the negative 3 and get a coefficient of negative 6. And then the back is the add rule, the 3 plus 4. So we get negative 6x to the 7th is our final result. How'd you do? Did you remember to multiply those big coefficients like normal? And finally, we're going to group these together. We've got c to the 5 plus 9. We've got d to the 2 plus 4. We should get c to the 14th, d to the 6th as our final answer. This whole top part was the add rule. How'd you do? Fix any that you didn't get right. Okay, the next one's the multiply rule. And so what do I recognize in this one? I can see these little powers are separated by a parentheses, reminding me to multiply them. And so here I go applying this rule. This is going to become 5 to the 2 times 3, 5 to the power of 6, 7 to the 8 times 4, 7 to the power of 32, yikes, that's a big number, x to the 5 times 9, x to the power of 45, h to the 11 times 2, h to the power of 22. Okay, so that's the multiply rule. How'd you do on that one? Do you recognize the difference between when to use that multiply rule and when to use the add rule? All right, on this next one, it is the multiply rule, but this is the shower, the power. Everything gets the little 2. Everything gets the little 4. Everything gets the power of 5. Everything gets the power of 3, etc. So let's go check these out. This becomes x to the 4 times 2 and y to the 3 times 2. Everything gets the power of 2. Leaving me with x to the 8th, y to the 6th. How'd you do? Next one has an s to the 6th, so it's 6 times 4, and a t, and a t to the 5 times 4. Final answer, s to the 24th, t to the 20th. How'd you do? All right, on this one, we get 3 to the power of 5, x to the 8 times 5. And so if you want, you can leave it as 3 to the 5th, but you can also multiply that out. Like 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27, times 3 is 81, times 3 is, grab a calculator and do that. You got it, it's 243. So you could have written this as 243 x to the 40th. All right. Next one, write it in a different color. 5 to the third, m to the third, p to the 7 times 3, and 5 to the third is just 125, m to the third, p to the 21st power. How'd you do on those? Okay, next ones have fractions, but we're still just doing the shower your power. Everything gets a little power of 4. So this just becomes x to the 4th over y to the 4th. This becomes q to the 9 times little 3, r to the 4 times little 3, or q to the 27th over r to the 12th. 5 to the 6th over 4 to the 6th. Ooh, here comes a big one. 2 to the 5th, x to the 3 times 5. 3 to the 5th, y to the 4 times 5 is 32, x to the 15th. I got to grab my calculator for that one. 3 to the 5th. Is that 729? Yikes. Y to the 20th. So 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. Oh, that is only 243. Did I do the other one right? Oh yeah, it was also 3 to the 5th. Okay, so how'd you do on these answers? All right, now going down here, we're using these 3 rules. We're using the subtract rule, the negative exponents rule, and the anything to the power of 0 is 1 rule. Okay, so let's go check it out. Here we go straight up subtract rule. Imagine stretching it out, having 10 x's on top and 4 x's on the bottom. So it leaves you just 10 to the 6th. B to the 700 minus 200 is b to the power of 500. 6 to the 5 minus 3 is 6 squared. Oh, we could make that a 36 if you want. Picture this one. Negative 3 stretched out 7 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then on the denominator, it's stretched out 6 times. So this one crosses, this one crosses, this one crosses, this one crosses, just leaving me 1. The answer to this is just negative 3. So I don't know what way you pictured that, but 7 minus 6 is just 1. So your answer for this was negative 3. All right, now we're starting to add in a little bit here. Look at it separately. Here's the a's. A to the 3 minus 1, b to the 8 minus 2 is equal to a squared, b to the 6th. Look at it separately. P to the 15 minus 14, q to the 20 minus 16 leaves me p to the invisible 1, q to the 4th. 2 to the 7 minus 2, x to the 12 minus 3, 2 to the 5th, x to the 9th. We could also simplify that to 32x to the 9th. 5 to the 20 minus 2, 11 to the 17 minus 10, leaves me 5 to the 18th, 11 to the 7th. How'd you do on these? This right here was a negative 3. Don't forget that negative. And it leaves me with the negative exponent rule. Remember that negative exponent means repeatedly dividing. So this turns into 1 over 5 to the positive 2, or 1 over 25. This becomes 1 over m to the 6th. Now this is starting downstairs, so it moves up as x to the third, as 13 to the fifth. Okay, anything to the power of 0 is 1, but there's an 8 in front. 8 times that 1 just gives me 8. 2 to the fifth, 2 to the fifth, 2 to the 5 minus 5, or 2 to the 0 is just 1. Now, in this one, look at things separately. The 6 does not have a negative exponent, it stays. But the a to the negative 4 has a negative exponent, so it goes. The 6 stays, the x goes. Negative 3 stays on top. It does not have a negative exponent. The y to the negative 2 moves up. Final answer is negative 3y squared. How'd you do on those last ones?